Alrighty, y'all. Good evening. Good evening. Now, I have been on YouTube for the last several decades. I have cried, I have screamed, I have felt love before, off camera, but still, friend zone off camera, but still. I have not cried over a boy, not just yet. On camera, off, yes. I have shown you my life for the last 10 years. Good, bad, and ugly, and I don't regret it because I wear my heart on my sleeve. But I want to talk about this because I absolutely love Liam Payne, and unfortunately, he passed away. You're younger than me. I'm 32 years old. He's 31. Now, granted, life doesn't have an expiration date, but I used to be obsessed with One Direction. Still kind of am, because One Direction is that band. I know a lot of people. I remember like NSYNC, and I remember BSB, and my nigger agrees was like secondhand cousin. You know what I mean? But I remember NSYNC and Backstreet Boys when I was younger, when I was like 5 years old. I think. Was I 5 years old? I think, but I'm a big girl group person. I am. Especially boy bands. But this one just hits differently. I have only like 5 celebrities that like, ow. I remember talking about last year, Lisa Marie, because that one kind of twisted the knife a little bit because I recently fell in love with her daddy, Elvis, and I still love Elvis. But Elvis wasn't my generation, But because of the Elvis movie, I fell in love, and I fell in love with Austin. I still love Austin. You were wondering, I still love my Austin Butler. But this celebrity death doesn't feel real to me because he was literally in rehab a couple months, like recently, like less than a couple months ago, for his alcohol addiction. He talked about it openly, talked about his depression openly, and like the bad side of fame. And obviously, he's not the first person who has struggled with fame and sobriety and all of that. And it just doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel real to me. And I'm coping the best way I can. I'm coping the best way I can. It just doesn't feel real to me. It doesn't. I was lucky enough to, in my opinion, I felt like Liam was One Direction, you know what I mean? He really loved, all the boys loved One Direction, but him and Louis made some of the best music together. They made magic together. And I felt like he would always, granted he has gotten some very negative press during last several years, right? In the last several years, he would always bring up One Direction and like how kind of not necessarily talking greatness. He would just like say that I was always the daddy. Everybody would tell me that I was gonna be in charge. And on a whole Logan Paul disaster interview was a disaster, and I and all these interviews are coming now back and saying that I don't know how to hit rock bottom because I hide it so well. Because I love alcohol. He never talked about drugs. So, but you know, he was incredibly young, and I feel like the pressure of fame and him not necessarily giving up One Direction in the sense of like he lost a lot, but he's like, if we didn't go our separate ways, we would have hated each other by the end of it. And there was, I felt like there was not really good people around him. You know, a lot of the boys have talked about their time in One Direction as a great time, but when he talks about One Direction, he was the one that was always pressured into being the dad or the professional one, the one that would make sure everybody was there on time, everybody was there on, everybody known their music. And he was literally the glue that held the boys together. Granted, they used to butt heads a lot, but it just, you know, because literally, I know we can all say that I only saw them once in concert. I saw them I saw them on Niall's birthday when he was turning 21. When he was the day before he turned 21. So I saw them on September 12, 2014, right? Yeah. And now his birthday is, if I'm not mistaken, the 13th. Or is it the 12th? I'm not sure. Don't come at me. But I remember blowing my voice out so bad that I drank like a week of steroids because it was so bad. I blew it out completely. I didn't tear anything, obviously, thank God, because I know some people, when they go to like Taylor Swift, they would tear their vocal cords completely. I mean, shatter them. I couldn't even speak afterwards. And I'm like, gladly, I even talked about this. I blogged about, screaming like a soprano would scream, but it just, the emotion of being in front of those boys and like feeling it was probably one of my favorite concerts. Now, granted, I rarely ever go to concerts, and this was before my sensory issues, even though I had sensory issues then, but I didn't know. I thought it was just, headaches. But it just made me feel so electrifyingly, because I would never see them ever again. Ever. And I never did. Because tickets were expensive even back then. And I went with a family friend that used to work. She took her daughters. And we were like in the middle. We were in Rosebud, so we were like the middle. Okay, so this is stage. The lower level, we were like up here. Towards like here. Towards here. In the middle, in the mausoleum section. Not all the way on top, but in the middle section. But it was so much fun. 3 hours of screaming and dancing and also I met 2 YouTubers that day. 2 British YouTubers, which they knew the boys, at least they knew Five Sauce. Also, I saw Five Sauce again in November. So I saw them 2 months later. They were amazing. But, it was a really good concert because it was, I believe, Ali something, Oliver or Ollie something, Five Sauce came on, and then One Direction came on. And then obviously Five Sauce went to tour on their own, and then I saw Five Sauce with the Veronicas, and the Veronicas were amazing as well. As their opening act. Yeah. So that was an amazing experience. And I know all of them went on to have their own solo careers. And I felt like when it came to Liam, everybody would rag on him. But I think he was probably a really good tenor. His falsetto was beautiful. Even though I'm sorry, but zany. When him and Zayn would sing together and also harmonize with Louis, him and Louis would harmonize would be absolutely chef's kiss, in my opinion. But I'm done talking about the subject because I don't want to cry anymore. I just wanted to get my feelings out there, and I've been trying to film this video for the last hour. But I just wanted to talk and vent and just get these emotions out of my body. I hope that his family is doing well, and I hope the boys are doing well, and I hope Liam, that no one was really there to really. Granted, you can say he's a grown man. Yeah, he was. And we tend to baby and coddle our boys. Because they're still, in a way, our boys. And we call them our boys even though they're grown men, they're in their 30s. But it feels like there was a lot of yes people around him. A lot of interesting folks at the very end. And he wasn't doing well. He wasn't doing well. And it just doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm really sorry, Liam. Truly sorry that people failed you. People failed you. And you needed a lot more help. And you should have. Something about this doesn't make sense, especially when it came to. Because he was sober last year, and then he kind of had a relapse. And as a celebrity, no matter how big or small you are, because he did have a fandom, even though a lot of people shitted on him, towards the end of his life. Which, TikTok was blowing up because of something Liam did, and I don't remember, he was being, cringy at the Nile concert earlier this week. And I'm like, okay. So what, Liam being Liam, he's just funny, I don't know, it just doesn't, no. It doesn't make any sense. I'm okay. I'm fine. It really, really stinks. Because these are. I wanted to hear the news of them passing away in my 50s. You know what I mean? In my 60s, not in my 30s. Not in my 30s. Okay, I'm done. I'm done talking. I will see you tomorrow. And may the Lord bless you today, tomorrow, always. And I'll be seeing you. Bye. Bye, guys.